James Gunn just teased Martian Manhunter in the DCU again. But we're not just talking about that. Darkseid is coming. You heard me. Darkseid is coming to the DCU. So we're going to talk about when, how, and why this all ties back to the greatest superhero of all time, Martian Manhunter. Let's start here. This is a post that James Gunn made a week ago. Set, design, and Chaco's #Superman. If you remember in Superman, when Ultraman blasted his way through an office with his heat vision and just completely and utterly destroyed it, this is the office building that was destroyed by his heat vision. It's the Chaco's Inc. building. And those of you who are familiar with DC or have been watching my channel, you know Chaco's are Martian Manhunter's favorite cookie. James Gunn has even posted these exact pictures before, referencing Martian Manhunter. A certain Martian will be happy to hear Chaco's Inc. is going strong in Superman. Now, the question is, why would James Gunn be posting pictures of the Chaco set from Superman when it was only on screen for a brief second? It was such an insignificant part of the movie, so why would you share pictures of that set of a fictional chocolate cookie brand? Why would you share pictures of that months after the movie came out unless there was something significant about it? That significance being a certain Martian. Now, let's talk about Darkseid. James Gunn posted this on the 14th of January, so a couple weeks before he posted these Chaco's pictures. He said, the world's greatest escape artist made his debut on this day 55 years ago in 1971, talking about Mr. Miracle. James Gunn is working on a Mr. Miracle animated series based on the 12-issue comic book series from Tom King and Mitch Gerads. Now, you might be asking, what does this have to do with anything? Well, this is the project that will introduce Darkseid to the DCU. Now, how do I know that? Well, check this clip out from writer Tom King himself.
When you have the right actor hit the right role, what really happens is that instead of worrying about your dialogue, because if you're the writer, you're like, as they say it, as they're reading it, you're just thinking, oh man, I wrote that poorly. Oh, I should have put a 2 or a 4 there. Suddenly the dialogue disappears and suddenly you're watching the show. Suddenly it's not about the words anymore. It's about the moment. That's what a great audition is. It's when you're suddenly listening to the moment instead of the words. And when that happens, I know we're dead on. We have to think. So, yeah, I mean, there were some people who nailed it, who were exactly just, I was like, oh my God, that is Scott, that is Barda. And then there were some people who I was like, that's not what I expected, but that is Darkseid.
They have already started, if not completed, the audition process for Darkseid himself in the DCU. And as we know, James Gunn said the same actor is going to be playing the characters in animation, in video games, in TV shows, in movies, because we're going to have the same continuity in the DCU. Everything is going to be under the same banner. If they're not, it's going to be called Elseworlds. So if you've already casted the guy who's going to voice Darkseid in the DCU, he's most likely going to be playing him in live action as well. Now you might be saying, wait a second, didn't James Gunn say Darkseid is not going to be in the DCU? So how could this be true? It doesn't make any sense. I mean, if they actually did the audition process, why would he say that? Well, let's take a closer look at what he actually said. First of all, there's Kirby's whole world which he created, which is totally fascinating, Gunn began when asked what he thought of Darkseid as a character. So that's a huge part of it. It's the new gods in general that is, to me, so interesting, which we're dealing with Mr. Miracle. So we're getting the new gods in this Mr. Miracle animated series. And I have the screenplay that I haven't read yet on my shelf right now. So there's that aspect of it. And then there are aspects of Darkseid in Thanos, which are obviously very similar. They look very similar. And because of that, to give you probably more of an answer than you expected, using Darkseid as the big bad right now is not necessarily the thing. For a lot of reasons, because Zack did it and so cool in his way, and because Thanos in Marvel. So, James Gunn doesn't want to use Thanos as the big bad in the DCU right now, but that does not necessarily mean he could be the big bad of the DCU in the future, and that doesn't necessarily mean that we're not going to get Darkseid in the DCU at all. Darkseid can be in the DCU. He's just not necessarily the big bad at this very moment. So, we have teases of Martian Manhunter in the DCU. We have actual footage of Tom King himself saying they've already auditioned Darkseid in the DCU, and he's going to be in Mr. Miracle, the animated series. But how does this all tie together? Well, if you've watched Peacemaker Season 2, you might have an idea. The ending of Peacemaker Season 2 introduced Salvation, this other dimensional planet that's going to be a prison for all these different metahumans. This is based off the Salvation Run comic book storyline. Now, I'm going to read you a brief little tidbit from this Screen Rant article that goes into detail about how this will all tie into Darkseid and Martian Manhunter. The Salvation comic book story contains several big twists, including the deaths of some DC villains, the revelation Darkseid's forces are being sent to the planet to test themselves against said villains, and the twist that Martian Manhunter has hidden away amongst these antagonists at Batman's request, seeking to ensure the relative safety of those who are sent away. So boom, there you have it. You have a way in for Darkseid and Martian Manhunter. And not to mention, Peacemaker Season 2 explicitly teased Martian Manhunter. I did a whole video on it. I'll post it up here if you want to check it out. So now, what do you all think? Are you excited to see Martian Manhunter and Darkseid in the DCU? I definitely am. Though Darkseid is... Well, Brainiac is my favorite supervillain of all time. Darkseid is probably my number 2 favorite DC villain, but Martian Manhunter is my favorite superhero of all time. So I'm definitely excited to see these two in the DCU. But let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. What do you think about all of this? And I'll see you all in the next video. Take care. Bye-bye.